And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roger, planet.
Water towers fly! Yes!
Payload down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage.
What is it?
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You good? Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Hello and welcome. You are looking at a Falcon 9, a brand new Falcon 9, I might add, and there's an asterisk there, but we'll talk about that in a minute, at Slick 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida, and SpaceX is getting ready to launch a batch of 24 Kuiper satellites for Amazon. I'm Jack Beyer for NSF. I'll be your host for today's stream, and as always, I am joined by our ever-competent cohort of co-hosts, starting off with Alex Alcantarilla Romero. Alex, how are you doing?
Well, third time's the charm, or so they say. So let's see if this time it launches.
Yes, indeed. Hopefully, it does launch on the third time, on the third try. Third time's the charm. Also joining us out in the field is Max Evans. Max, how are you doing?
Good morning, everybody. Yes, Kuiper on Falcon number 2, take 4. Let's try and get Falcon 9 off the ground today, and hopefully the weather will cooperate this time.
Indeed. Hopefully it will. It's a nice looking morning, though. We also have D out in the field as well, operating cameras, and Jay is operating today's stream. But yeah, let's jump right into it. Alex, what's going on with Booster 1091, and why is there that asterisk there when I say it's a brand new Falcon 9?
Well, it's a brand new Falcon 9 booster, right? But it's a different kind of Falcon 9 booster. So it is what did it say there? Booster history and journey on the I-10. Who added that? That was funny. Okay, so that just distracted me right now. Going back on track here with the booster, this is B1091, and it just so happens to be a Falcon Heavy center core. So as we were explaining on the last two attempts, SpaceX, they don't want to just make these Falcon Heavy center cores single use. They want to use them multiple times, and as you may know, Falcon Heavy unfortunately does get rid of their Falcon Heavy center cores quite a few times. Every single time that it's flown since 2022, they have expanded the center core. There is maybe one mission in the future where they may try to recover the center core, but other than that, we don't know whether that's going to happen or not. There's a higher chance actually that they expand all future Falcon Heavy center cores. So they're trying just to get some more flights out of it by flying it first as a Falcon 9 booster. The tanks are the same that are going to be used on that Falcon Heavy whenever it flies as Falcon Heavy center core, but things like the intrastage, it's the Falcon 9 intrastage. All of the Octaweb attachments are the ones from a Falcon 9 booster. So it's a Falcon Heavy center core dressed in Falcon 9 clothing, I guess, if you will.
That's so wild. So, are there pusher mechanisms and stuff on it, or it's just straight up in Falcon 9 mode?
It's just in Falcon 9 mode. Yeah, there's no Falcon Heavy side booster attachments or anything like that you can see when we spotted it at McGregor. Yeah, it's super clean. It doesn't have any logos on it, which is another feature of Falcon Heavy center cores. That was the first thing that we noticed when it drove past our cameras at McGregor. We were like, hang on, it doesn't have any logos on it. Because Falcon Heavy side boosters, for example, at least have one of the logos, one of the SpaceX logos on it. which is the one that is essentially facing out of Falcon
Right.
Heavy, right? But the center core, because it's flanked by the two side boosters, it doesn't have any logos, and obviously it doesn't have the Falcon 9 logo on it, just like a regular Falcon 9 booster. So the first thing that we noticed was like, it doesn't have any logos on it. Now, I said that it doesn't have some of the connections for the side boosters, but it does have some of the connecting hardware, sort of the spots where in the future, once it
That
flies
stuff will
as
go.
Falcon Heavy Center Core, exactly where that stuff will go, exactly.
Neat.
And it's in the Octaweb in that case. But yeah, we also spotted that, and it was like, that's a Falcon Heavy Center Core. What he's doing there? And John Edwards confirmed this.
So correct me if I'm wrong. We've seen Falcon Heavy side cores fly as Falcon 9s. Have we seen a Falcon Heavy center core fly as a Falcon 9 before? I don't think we have, but I could be missing it, and you are Mr. Falcon 9, so I'm asking you.
This is the first time they're doing this. The first time they're flying a Falcon Heavy center core as a Falcon 9. The other way cannot happen. So the Falcon Heavy center core is especially built with thicker walls and reinforcements in order to be able to take the loads of the side boosters from all of its sides and everything. So a regular Falcon 9 would not be able to fly as a Falcon Heavy center core. But the other way around, I mean, that's what they're trying today. They've been trying to do that for 2 occasions in the past. So
Right. Hopefully, on the third try, they can get this thing in the air. You can see some of the static fire footage from our McGregor live cams of this very booster. If you didn't know, they do static fire boosters at McGregor, in addition to all the individual standalone engine tests and everything. So shout out to McGregor Live. We always love tracking boosters over there as well. So, I mean, it's a Falcon Heavy center core, which means it's built heavier. It's built different. So, presumably there's some performance loss, I assume, Alex?
well, there's a little bit, but one of the things that I try to remind people is that the booster does not have a one-to-one relationship, right? In how much mass you add to the booster and you
Right.
lose from performance, right?
Right. Like with the second stage, it's like kind of one to
Exactly.
one.
Yeah, with the second stage is exactly one-to-one because obviously that goes into orbit. So whatever you put into orbit, and you add to the second stage, then that's mass that it cannot carry into orbit. It's whatever unit of mass that you use, pounds, kilograms, or whatever. If you add 1 kilogram or 1 pound to the second stage, it turns into 1 fewer kilogram or 1 fewer pound that you cannot carry to orbit. But for the booster, the relationship it's closer to 1 to 10. Essentially, if you add 10 kilograms to 10 pounds or whatever, then you lose maybe 1 kilogram or 1 pound of payload to orbit, essentially, right? And so I don't know, even if it were, say it's like 3 extra metric tons, for example, then that's 300 kilograms. It's not that much. And this, in this case, this payload is not really mass limited. There's like about a ton or so of performance margin in general for this one. So there's definitely margins to fly this.
Neat. Y'all, I forgot to mention at the start of the stream, because I'm bad at this, that if you have any questions at NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we'll see your questions pop up in some software we have running in the background. And I do see some questions coming in, some good ones, which we will hit here shortly. Max, you're out there right now, braving the mosquitoes and the humidity and the early morning too, no doubt. What's the situation on the ground out there right now?
Unfortunately, it's looking like we're following the trend that we have for the last 3 or 4 days, where the weather has been subpar. It was looking acceptable when we got here at about 5 o'clock this morning or 5:30. But there have been clouds that are beginning to develop towards the port and are making their way north toward us. So I'm feeling a little worried about what we're seeing with the good old Mark 1 eyeballs, but according to the forecast from the 45th Weather Squadron at the Patrick Space Force Base, they are only forecasting a 45% probability of violation for today's launch attempt. And the primary concerns at that point are going to be the cumulus and anvil cloud rules, as well as the lightning rule, like phase 1, phase 2 lightning. Thankfully, we have not had any lightning warnings this morning or wind advisories, which is good. So as far as we are aware, the weather board should be green. And also, as well as the upper level wind shear, booster recovery weather, and solar activity risk criteria are low. So at least as the forecast is concerned, this is probably the best window they've had in a few days. But according to the Mark 1 eyeballs and keeping on theme with the last few days, it seems like some weather is beginning to develop as the sun comes up and the ground warms up and we get some convection in the atmosphere. It's a very unstable time of the year for weather, as we are now in about the heart of hurricane season, and as that draws well as we get even deeper into it. So hopefully SpaceX can find a hole in the clouds, as they almost did yesterday, frustratingly. But we will have to wait and see. They have about 26 or 27-minute window to work with today. It closes at 9:24 a.m. Excuse me, 9:24 a.m. Local time here on the Space Coast of Florida. So they have some time to work with, but not a ton. And hopefully they can make that decision before they get into prop load, because when they do, they are committed to whatever T0 they were targeting.
Indeed. Yeah, it looks like the weather's doing that thing just based on our different camera angles where like one half of the sky is kind of gloomy and the other half of the sky is kind of like nice blue sky. And you're like, can we get more of that other half? Like not the gloomy half, please? Is that yeah, see there you go. Is that
Yeah,
accurate, Max?
exactly. Yeah, I mean that's just how weather is here in Florida. But we're normally used to seeing this in the afternoons and not directly
Right.
in the mornings like we have been lately. So it is frustrating, but honestly, that is just part of the game. That is how it is in these
Yeah.
now dog days of summer now in Central Florida. So that's just how the ball rolls sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you get nice little treats though. Like the other day, didn't you get a really sick shot of the VAB with some lightning?
Yes, and as far as memory serves, it actually launched that night. So yeah, weather
They,
here
they
has
did.
been. They did. Yeah,
They
so
did thread the needle that time. Well,
they
it's
did.
available as a print on the store, and I just wanted to point it out because it's a phenomenal shot. That's like a bucket list shot. It's available as metal and paper print in the store because we do both. And a portion of the sale of the prints go to the photographer who took the image. Max, that's a great image.
Thank you, Jack. Yes, it definitely is a bucket list shot, and but even though these images can be a treat, more often than not they can serve more as a nuisance, especially when they are intruding on launch windows. So actually, you know what? There looks to be a window kind of opening in the clouds now, but now that I've just said that, we are probably going. I just jinxed it probably. Jeez.
All right. Well, we'll cross our fingers and hope that we do get a window here. I hope they can get this rocket into the air on the third try. I know you guys out there on the Cape have been loving this one, so fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, I mean we're already pretty used to late nights and early mornings, mostly because of these late night Starlinks that do be hitting different sometimes.
I
But
knew it. I knew you
uh,
were going to say that.
but it looks like these early morning Kuiper missions tend to be hitting just bad, especially with the weather. I don't know,
Just
but yeah,
bad.
it's nothing that we aren't used to. But normally, for missions that take place in the early mornings, usually we have to have a debate with ourselves, and that do we just stay awake the whole night and pull an all-nighter and not have to wake up for it because waking up is painful, or do we try and get a quick nap in before getting up and getting out here? But it's still early enough in the morning, or I guess late enough in the morning, I should say, to where we get some hours of sleep in the night before we make our way out here between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning. So but if it keeps pushing, as we've seen in the last few days, if it keeps pushing and delaying, it moves earlier and earlier into the day, similar to what we see with missions to the International Space Station, where every single day it pushes, the launch window shifts left about 25-ish minutes. So, but hopefully we shouldn't have to do that anymore, and we can get Falcon 9 off the ground in just about 43 minutes time.
Fingers crossed. Let's do some questions while we wait to see if we're going to get into the start of fueling here in about 5 or so minutes. Alex, John's asking, what's that box covering the fairing?
That's the crew access tower. That's essentially it. It's not covering it. It's just in the foreground, and so the rocket is actually behind it. But yeah, unfortunate construction, I guess. But yeah, it's just how it is.
Perspective. How does it work? Max Fra says, it's a nice stream. Best birthday gift ever. Happy birthday, Max Fra. Chat, say happy birthday to Max Fra. Because it's their birthday. They just orbited a star. How cool is that? Justin Porter, thank you for the question. We hit on this a little bit earlier. They're saying, what is the difference in Delta V from this booster to a normal Falcon 9? If you are not a seasoned tank watcher and you're like, what's Delta V? Oh, wow. It's kind of like what they can get done with the amount of fuel they have. Is that a fair summary of what Delta V is, Alex? What you can get done with the amount of fuel you have? Because it does matter how efficient your engines are.
Yeah, I mean, going perhaps a little bit more technical, it just means like the difference in velocity, right? And
Fair.
you need a difference in velocity, right? Because you're essentially stationary on the ground and you need to reach orbit, which is like nearly 8,000 meters per second. And so you need a change in your speed in order to get into orbit. And of course, that is dependent on things like, how much propellant you're carrying, how heavy you are without that propellant, how much payload you're carrying. And so if you're heavier, if your dry mass is heavier, like it is, for example, in the case of a center core, then of course you cannot carry as much payload for the same amount of delta V, or the other way around. You carry the same amount of payload and then you get less delta V, which means you may not get into orbit. And so you can view it in from both sides of the whole deal, right? Of the whole relationship between those different things. As to a quantity of what is the difference in delta V, I would not be able to say, because we don't know exactly how heavier center cores are compared to a regular Falcon 9 booster. But as we were saying before, the relationship, like the amount that you increase the mass of the booster, it's on the relationship is like maybe 1 to 10, right? In terms of how much the payload performance decreases, the amount of payload you can carry to orbit. And so even if it were 3 tons, 4 tons, say it's even 10 tons of extra mass that they add to the center cores, that will still be only 1 ton. And again, this mission is nowhere near the performance limit of Falcon 9. So they have some margins there.
Makes sense. Good question from Justin there. MK11111 is asking, I know this may sound like a dumb question, but what does it mean when they call out stage 2 is at terminal guidance? Max, do you want to hit that one?
So essentially, at that point, stage 2 is committed to targeting the orbit that obviously it was going to target, and there is not going to be any abort to a lower orbit or a different orbit than what was targeted. So they are at that point, stage 2 is completely autonomous and off to wherever it needs to go. Whereas before that, they have the open or the option to abort to a lower orbit, similar to what the space shuttle had with the what was it? Abort to orbit, ATO. ATO, yes. It's still early in the morning, folks, but yeah. So at that point, and also we will also hear. No, that's not related. My brain is fried this morning. Excuse me, but essentially that means that stage 2 is committed to the at least with its onboard avionics, that it is committed to the orbit that it was originally targeting.
Yeah, a lot
Alex,
of times
if Alex has
or
yeah, if Alex has any more to add on to that, by all means.
I do. Yeah,
You
a
do?
lot of times missiles will have like an active, missiles and rockets will have like an active and, oh, I see the clock just switched to hold. We're awaiting a new T0. We will see what develops in that respect here shortly. But yeah, a lot of times there's active guidance and terminal guidance. Terminal guidance is like
Oh,
the final phase. Go ahead,
hold
Alex.
has been released. New T0, 9:13 a.m. Eastern.
So a little under an hour from now, like 55 minutes from now or so, right?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, they moved
Yeah, not
it
too
about
bad.
16 minutes.
So they're already about halfway into the window.
Thank you, Max. I was just about to ask you, talk to us about Windows. So this thing's about half of it?
Yeah, so the window opened at 9 or 8:57 a.m. local time and closes at 9:24 or 9:25 a.m. local time. So about 27 or 28 minutes long, and which honestly is not that much time compared to what we are normally used to seeing with customer missions. Albeit those are going off to a geostationary transfer orbit or a medium Earth orbit, which typically have anywhere from an hour to a 4-hour launch window. Similar to what we see with Starlinks, but Starlinks have different sub windows within that 4-hour period of time. But about 25 to 27 minutes to get your rocket off the ground is not a lot of time, especially if you are working a vehicle issue or the weather, which is currently up in the air and going up and down like a friggin' roller coaster at the moment here in Florida. And I would presume that is what they are keeping their eye on. But the first stand down they had on Thursday morning, as SpaceX said, was due to a vehicle issue and not a weather issue. So it is. We typically tend to see vehicle issues, ironically, with brand new Falcon 9 boosters as opposed to flight proven Falcon 9 boosters, because it obviously has never flown before, despite all of its engine testing over at McGregor and all of its checkouts before it is shipped either to Vandenberg or here. Issues do still arise, and this is certainly a unique booster that has not yet flown before, certainly in this configuration, nor has SpaceX ever really tried this before. So it may be a bit finicky, as this booster was never initially made to fly in a single stick configuration, but they could also be working something on the ground, which honestly would not be too surprising considering how much work they have Slick40 doing. I mean, it is currently the busiest launch complex in the world, so it could be a multitude of things, but unfortunately, we do not have that transparency as to track whatever issues they are working.
Yeah. Hey, Max, you know what the second busiest launch pad in the world is?
Is it Slick4?
Yeah.
First of the losers.
Wow. Alex, did you want to wrap up the terminal guidance thing?
You brought that on
Yeah.
yourself, Jack.
I just said second. I didn't even say West Coast is best coast. I didn't even do a tribalism. I just asked you a straight up fact, and you
But-
chose violence.
And Vandenberg had no relevance to that point I was trying to make.
You said I'm hosting. We're filling air. We're talking about rockets. You said it was the most active at Slick40, which is true. And you know what is also true? The second most active is Slick4. What's so bad about that?
Huh.
So, Alex.
Yeah, so the whole terminal guidance, so we're going back like 5 or 6 minutes before the hold came up. Yeah, so it occurs if you hear when it occurs like towards the end of the burn. What happens is that earlier in the burn, the second stage is it's targeting its trajectory and whatnot, but it's doing it in a software mode that is sort of more. How to explain this? So in larger steps, essentially. So every single time the whole software going on internally, it's doing every single calculation of where it's going and everything, and its guidance systems is doing all of that. It's doing it in certain size of steps, right? When it is approaching orbit, though, in order to get a good and precise orbit insertion, it goes into terminal guidance, and that's when that time step, which is what it's called, it shrinks in size, and that's when it goes like super duper very precise guidance there, because it needs that in order to enter the correct orbit. If it were still doing the same guidance that it does before entering orbit, just when it's doing the ascent and everything, if it were to do that, it will have huge errors on its apogee, in its perigee. Essentially, the orbit will look very wonky, and so it enables that terminal guidance towards the end. Because first, it's a very short amount of time, so it is true that you're doing a lot more stuff, but you're doing it over a short amount of time, and so it doesn't overload the computers and the guidance systems and things like that. It's very common for rockets in general to do that kind of stuff, where as they are getting close to orbit, they start sort of their own guidance systems try to calculate their position and insertion into orbit a lot more precise. And there's many other rockets out there that do that sort of stuff as well. Or like, the difference, for example, in open guidance, closed guidance, open loop, closed loop, and things like that, where, you have open loop, it just targets, a fixed trajectory, and then it goes to closed loop where it starts getting inputs from its different parameters of where it is and things like that, and then it tries to correct itself and get to a precise location and things like that. So in general, when you hear that kind of stuff, it's just the guidance systems trying to get more precise to be able to do that orbit insertion. And we hear the same, of course, as well. I don't know if you've been aware, because every single time it happens, we're all screaming about the Super Heavy booster. But Starship has the same. You can hear Starship is in terminal guidance, and you can hear that on the callouts. But of course, it happens at the same time as the booster landing, and so we are all crazy and all that. But you can hear the same kind of thing, and so they do the same there as well.
Got it. Excellent answer, Alex. Thank you. Let's do some more questions. I see some more ones coming in. And as a reminder, once again, at NASA Spaceflight, we'll see your questions pop up in some software we have running in the background. Also, I want to thank some people. Mike Alpha Tango Sierra, that's Matt's. Thank you for gifting 20 Red Team memberships. That's awesome. 20 people now have access to the membership program, which is so important to what we do. And not only do they have access to the membership program is like a big nebulous thing. Like they have access to a bunch of additional content that they wouldn't have otherwise. So if your name just turned green in chat, be sure to thank Mats. That's awful nice of them. It's awful nice also of Michael Seeley. That's a name I know. What's up, dude? Gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Max
He was here yesterday too.
He was here yesterday.
Is he out shooting today? Can you go run and tackle him in thanks for me, or is he not there?
Mike is. I don't see Mike here over at the press site, but I know Mike is out there somewhere. So I will tackle him in spirit because Mike is the man. Michael Seeley equals the man.
He equals the man indeed. One of the truly best. If you don't follow his work, you should, because it's absolutely phenomenal. Thanks, Mike. Kevin, thank you for the support. They grabbed a holiday beanie, getting a jump on the holidays. They say thank you to the whole NSF team for your hard work. Thank you so much, Kevin. They also got a print for me. Thank you. Again, photographer that shot the image gets a portion of the sale. Ooh, they got the Ship 37 static fire shot. I did not think anyone was going to buy that. Thank you so much for the support, everybody. Also, Bideford with a $25 super. Thank you so much. They say, which launch, in air quotes, do you remember was scheduled and canceled the most times? Can be weather or booster related. Good morning, everyone.
Artemis 1.
Good morning, Bideford.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, there must be something in your throat, Max. I don't know, you might want to disconnect from Discord and reconnect. That didn't quite come through.
Artemis 1. Excuse me. Sorry. Goodness gracious. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we'll have to get you some allergy medication. We'll see if we can get any super chats for allergy medication for it. Yeah, no, Artemis 1, and I know the East Coast had a cursed Delta 4 as well. The West Coast had one in, I think 2019, somewhere around there. It was canceled and rescheduled. Trying to pick my words very carefully here. 4, 5 times, some absurd number of times, sometimes with months in between attempts. But that is the launch that I did get some of my very favorite Delta 4 imagery from. So
that was a good one.
All worth it in the end.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Delta 4 Heavy and also Jay brought it up in the back channel. And that one Delta 4 you were talking about on the East Coast here was NROL 44, and that one was going to try to launch in August of 2020. Then they had a hot fire abort, which is where one of Delta's one of Delta's 3 cores began to ignite and then shut down due to a ground service equipment issue, and then they tried to launch again about a month later, and then they had a similar issue, albeit in abort, maybe a second or two earlier in the countdown, and then it didn't end up launching till, what was it, like December? I think it was December of 2020. So that was, and I was there for the first 2 launch attempts, and that was a rather painful mission to cover, and I did not end up being there for the launch, unfortunately. But Artemis 2 and our NROL 44 are probably the first 2 to come to mind.
Yeah, that was a wild one for you guys, and it was wild because it was almost the same situation as we had at Vandenberg like a year prior with NROL 71. I think that was the one. It's just turns out when you when you don't use your pad very much and you don't launch your rocket very often, you have a lot of ground side issues when you do try to do those things.
Well, just look on the bright side. None of that exists anymore. So there
That's
you
not
go.
bright. Nothing about that is bright. I miss Delta 4
Hey,
heavy. I miss
but
Delta
it's for
4
a good cause.
medium.
It's for a good cause, though. Starship from Slick 37 and Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy from Slick 6.
Yeah,
God, that would be
that's
so
true.
cool.
I'm
And
excited
maybe
for Slick
Starship
6.
from Slick 6? I don't know.
I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Don't get me wrong. Slick 6 is my favorite launch pad that I've had the honor of visiting and placing cameras at so far. I don't know, Alex. Like Slick 6 is a challenging pad. And I don't want to be too negative here, but when you look at the sort of access that ULA provides photographers versus the sort of access that SpaceX typically provides photographers, at least on the West Coast, you know, at Slick 4, when there are remotes, we don't put them inside the fence. It's all spots outside the pad. At Slick 6, oh man, there's like 4 or 5 different remote spots, and a couple of them are inside the fence. They let you put one right there, basically exactly where that pin is. It's the danger spot. So I do miss that. I'm going to miss that sort of access. Hopefully, when Slick 6 comes online, at least for the first launch or first couple of launches, SpaceX does a similar sort of thing.
Falcon
Okay,
Heavy
so
from there.
it wasn't where the pin is. See, okay, so you see the mobile service structure with the flag on it there to the left of the pin. To the left of that, there's a diagonal white wall. That's where they let us strap cameras to for like the close spot. Hey, SpaceX, if any of you are listening, that
I
would be
remember that.
that would be a banger spot for Falcon 9 or Falcon Heavy because you're basically dead nuts center right on the thing, and it's a great spot. I hope you let us put cameras there because ULA did, and it was awesome.
You
The
know what?
building will no
Honestly,
longer be there, so that's going to be a positive, I guess.
to be fair, SpaceX has been very generous with every single Falcon Heavy launch opportunity here at the Cape, and I
True.
imagine with how special and with how special Falcon Heavy is, and how not often it launches, I would like to imagine that they would be a bit more proactive with media operations for that one, because that really would be a very, very special thing to see Falcon Heavy fly from the West Coast, especially at Slick 6.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Max. They do sort of treat Falcon Heavy a little bit different. And 33 Raptors Mimi gifting 5 red team memberships as well. Thank you
Meet
so much.
Raptors. I just can't imagine. Like,
when Raptors sleep, do they honk shoo or do they honk me me me? I think they honk shoo.
Honestly, I think they just honk.
Yeah, they honk.
It's just honk.
It's just honk.
Oh, good stuff. Y'all, let's do some more questions. Bojack in chat, good name, good show. Asking, what does FPS is safe mean? It's actually FTS, Falcon Tango Sierra. Max, what does FTS is safe mean?
So FTS stands for Flight Termination System, and on Falcon 9, it is automated, so it's AFTS. And there comes a certain point in flight where both stage 1 and stage 2 do not fall in to a window where they need to, or if an issue arises, that they need to trigger the flight termination system. Whereas on the ground here, especially if it is for whatever reason traveling in either the wrong direction, or they have an issue with two or more of the engines, because Falcon 9 does have the ability to lose one engine and still make it to its targeted destination. But there comes a point where that is just not necessary, considering where either stage 1 or stage 2 is, and where it would end up should an issue come across. And then that is why you hear callouts for stage 1 and stage 2 AFTS is safed. And then that system is turned off, and that ordinance is essentially disabled. So at that point, either stage 1 is going to plummet into the ocean, or stage 2 is going to re-enter somewhere on the other side of the world, where it is not going to be causing a serious issue. So that is why we hear those callouts. And Falcon 9 is unique in that it is one of the only rockets using an AFTS system. And I believe the only other one using AFTS might actually be Electron with Rocket Lab. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I think those are the only two rockets currently using AFTS.
There's another one, though, that you forgot. A really big
Vulcan?
one. No?
Is it SLS?
Starship. Starship also uses AFTS.
Yeah. I'm a doofus. I forgot about that one. What even is Starship? What even is Starship, honestly?
It's a beast.
It's a hot dog. Max, it's early. You're allowed to.
Why a hot dog?
Let's move on and do some more
Where's
questions.
the bun?
because that makes no sense. The flaps for the bun. David Rosenberger is asking, why is SpaceX launching Project Kuiper rather than Blue Origin? Actually, no, wait. It's T-minus 37 minutes. We should do timeline. Alex, where are we at in the timeline?
Well, hopefully they have given the go for propeller load. So far, the clock on the SpaceX website is still running, so let's hope that continues to be the case. Remember that this one is at least from what SpaceX themselves have said, it is linked to their own clock. So as long as it's running, the real clock, that should be running as well. So in that case, that means in 2 minutes we'll have the start of propeller load. We're assuming, of course, that go for propeller load has been given. T-minus 37 minutes, they do this sort of thing where they vent the tanks ahead of propeller load. So if the clock has not stopped by now, that I'm gonna say that is indication that they were given the go for propeller load. So that means they're going to be loading RP1 kerosene, the fuel of Falcon 9, on both stages at T-minus 35 minutes. And also at that time, they start the load of liquid oxygen on the first stage. So roughly 4 minutes from now, we should start seeing some frost. The only thing that with this booster being completely clean and no suit or anything, it's going to be complicated. So instead, I will recommend our viewers and our co-hosts, I guess, what do you call us? Cohort of co-hosts. To just look at the vapors. The vapors are usually better visible than the frost when it's a new booster, especially in Florida weather. So, yeah.
Excellent. Sorry, I was converting the distance to low Earth orbit to leagues because somebody in chat asked me to. Approximately between 33 and 400 leagues. Whoever asked, I think it was Gabriel. So there's your timeline. Clock is ticking down. I for one am glad they seemingly did not push again. Max, are you glad?
I will be glad once I see first motion off the pad.
Fair. That's fair. All right. Well, we will continue to watch for vapors there at the base of the vehicle. And let's do some more questions. Let's hit that one from... Oh no, where did it go? Here we go. David Rosenberger. Why is SpaceX launching Kuiper rather than Blue Origin? Because Blue's not ready yet, kind of. Or they need to get him up and fast enough to appease the FCC, right, Max?
Yeah, they have a certain criteria to meet in terms of how many satellites they need to launch by a certain time. And I believe it's 1,600 satellites by July of next year. And to this point, they've only launched 3 operational Kuiper missions, which totaling, I think it's around 70-something satellites. Is that right, Alex? So far?
Uh, for Kuiper, you mean? This
Yes.
one will bring it to 102. So over
102.
100.
Okay.
Yeah, at least
So-
operational ones.
Right. And so this would be the 4th operational flight, the 2nd on Falcon 9. They have launched 2 already on Atlas 5, but actually a majority of the Kuiper missions are slated to Vulcan in the VC6 configuration, which hopefully we're going to see Vulcan fly on Tuesday evening, because that is coming up rather quickly, and that is always a special vehicle to see fly. But I believe because I think Kuiper wanted to select SpaceX and Falcon 9 because they essentially really didn't have much of any other choice if they wanted to meet a decent launch cadence by a certain time. And I believe they have one more contracted on Falcon 9 after this, probably at some point next month. And who knows, we might see more. But ULA needs to fly Atlas and Vulcan a lot more. And also, New Glenn also needs to take a step up and launch some groups as well if they are to meet that deadline and capacity by mid next year. So they have a long way to go, and a lot more rockets have to fly. But at the moment, Falcon 9 seems like one of the best options because it flies so often and it is very capable.
There's another aspect to this as well that, Amazon did not only contract their launches with Blue Origin, but they also, as you mentioned, had launches on Atlas. They had on Vulcan. They have contracted 3 with Falcon 9, and they also have a bunch of them as well on Ariane 6. So the same question could be asked, like, why is it not launching on Vulcan? Why is it not launching on Ariane 6? Like, Vulcan is launching, a few days from now. Ariane 6 is also launching in a few days as well from French Guiana. But they just have higher priority missions to carry out first. Even like the same thing can also be said about New Glenn. It already launched on January, right? It did one launch. It was successful in terms that it was able to get into orbit, put the second stage in the planned orbit and everything. So if it had carried Kuiper satellites, that mission will have gone okay, but it was a demo flight, so of course they're not going to be carrying any payloads or anything on that first flight. The second flight will be carrying NASA's Escapade, and then the third flight, I think it's going to be carrying a rideshare mission to low Earth orbit. So there's like other missions that they need to fulfill first, and after that, then they're going to be starting to carry these Kuiper missions. So yeah, that's probably a stretch to that answer, but there we can see Frost on the Falcon 9 booster.
Excellent. So that means they are indeed going for it because Falcon 9 does use super chilled propellants, and they, once start loading, can't hold. So fingers crossed they can get Falcon 9 off the ground in about 31 minutes to go.
Please, please,
I can't. I can't.
please.
I hope Falcon 9 can hear you screaming at the press site so that it does, in fact. Hey, look, it's Vapor. Alex can draw. Alex, why did you choose Barf Green?
That's not me. That's Jay.
Oh, Jay, why
Since
did
when?
you choose?
Why did you think that was me?
I don't know. What color do you use? Purple?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
because
right.
if
Well,
I
Jay
choose
uses
red, that's his color.
right. So Jay uses green. Does that mean if I ever get telestration capability, I'll get orange?
Yes.
It's
I
orange.
guess.
All right. It is known. Let's see. More questions. More questions will be watch prop load on this tube. I mean rocket. Well, it's kind of a tube.
Oh,
Gabe?
orange.
No. See, Jay can't do that. That's proprietary. That's also
That's
not the
just
right orange.
rude.
It's too dark. If Jay's gonna steal orange, they at least need to do FF4 F100.
Jay
That's the hex
says that
code.
it is that orange.
That's the hex
So
code for international orange. I don't believe them.
That's what he's saying in the back channel. So
I reject his reality and I substitute my own, Alex. What's he going to do about it?
he can mute you. That's
Okay.
what he can
Okay,
do.
actually, that orange looks so good. It was the exact right orange, let me tell you. Saad is asking, is this the first time a Falcon Heavy center core will be recovered? Sort of? Max?
Let's wait until it
Technic-
lands.
Yes. So, assuming it lands successfully, it technically will not, because the Arabsat 6A center core, which was the second Falcon Heavy mission to fly, did successfully land on the drone ship, but unfortunately was lost at sea and tipped over afterwards. So, technically, no, but it would be the first to come back into Port Canaveral in one piece. I think that much is fair to say.
Yeah, that's that works. Mick Ronald in chat says, give Jack a telestrator. I second this, Mick. Is this my soundboard? Chris B will be on air asking for soundboards, and I'll be on air asking for telestration. More questions. We'll keep them coming. 28 minutes to go. Again, 24 Kuiper satellites sitting atop this rocket, waiting to go to space. This is the third attempt. Hopefully it gets off the ground today. Alex Bojack's asking, how many times did Falcon 9 launch this year, and will they meet their target launch number this year?
So far, 96. This will be the 97th, 100th total for SpaceX. If you count the 3 Starship launches, that you can see some of the stats for today's launch. I say some, but there's a lot. I I always put a lot of them, and every few months I add a new one. But yeah, that's the, so as you can see there, it will be the 100th launch of the year, 97th for Falcon 9, because you gotta remove the 3 from Starship, so you will be on 97. They want to launch 170 Falcon 9 launches this year. I said on the last 2 attempts that they were on track for 160 or more than 160 launches, but unfortunately, because they delayed this one, and they also delayed the one from Vandenberg, that one has slipped a couple of times this week. Right now, they are under 160, on track for a little bit under 160 launches by the end of the year. But oh my gosh, that's, yeah, woof. That's a big L, right? They cannot launch 170 times, guys. It's
The end of the world, Alex.
it's a horrible thing. I mean, there's no other company out there that launches as many times as SpaceX. Even if you were to remove all of their Starlink launches, they still launch more customer missions than all of the American rocket companies combined. And maybe even some of the Chinese companies if you include them as well. So there's a lot of launches on SpaceX schedule in the past and also in the future. So let's get this one off the ground, please.
Get it out of the way so that they can move on to the next one. And, you know, we were joking around a little bit at the top of the stream. Slick 40, the pad we're looking at right now, being the most active in the world. I mean, SpaceX is killing it. They're absolutely killing it. 160 a year is still bonkers. And you know, while I'm thinking about it, I know we talk about Amazon having a long way to go with the number of satellites they need to launch. I'm still mind blown that anybody aside from SpaceX or even SpaceX themselves can launch 24 satellites on a single mission. I don't know. It's like we're in this new era of mass-produced satellites. It's kind of wild to me. Max, is it? Am I off base? Is it wild to you too?
It is, and certainly with how often they fly it too. I mean, obviously they have the transporter programs, and also, oh gosh, what's the other one? There's transporter and bandwagon, which can fly upwards of over 50, sometimes over 100 satellites at a time in a single launch. Granted, they're mostly small payloads, but still carrying that many payloads in a single flight, whether it be from here or Vandenberg, is remarkable. And even just thinking back 10, 15, 20 years ago, where satellites that were designed with the same capability were just absolutely gargantuan in size and required big, expensive, and powerful rockets to fly. Whereas nowadays, we are somewhat in airline-like operations with Falcon 9. Big asterisk on kind of, because obviously there is a long way to go in terms of reuse and hopefully, in terms of rapid reuse, and hopefully Starship is the answer to that with SpaceX. Good grief! But as you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, that is the latest batch of Kuiper satellites leaving the Amazon processing facility here, located at the Kennedy Space Center, right near the SLF or the LLF, as it is technically called, or the Launch and Landing Facility, just north of the Vehicle Assembly Building here at KSC. Yeah, it is a really strange time to be here, where SpaceX and Falcon 9 in particular have this amount of capability, and it has become so normal. And whereas even 5 years ago, launching 20 times a year was insane. And now they're on track to launch 160 times this year. And we're all just kind of like, meh, it's normal. It's business as usual, you know?
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, it's like the smartphoneification of satellites, or I don't know. I mean, presumably part of it's also the advent of mass producible phased array antennas. I would really love to talk to somebody much smarter than me, like an RF engineer or something, and be like, how is this? How? How?
Magic.
Yeah, there you go. They
It's
figured out a way
magic.
to not let the magic smoke out when they build the satellites. That's how they can build so many. Let's do some more questions. 23 minutes to go. Hopefully 3 minutes and a half away from a big vent, which we will talk about if I don't forget it, like a bad host. Anthony McQuaid's asking, if this mission isn't using all of Falcon 9's performance, couldn't they add more satellites?
Aha.
Unless it's volume constrained, right, Alex?
Well, volume constraint, as far as I know, it shouldn't, because the configuration they launched these satellites on Atlas V, it was the same size of the fairing. So they used the medium length 5-meter diameter fairing. And when you look at the specifications of that, it's the same size. And there's no secret as to why it is the same size, because well, there's this set of standards by a certain national security agency called the U.S. Space Force, that essentially tells operators, you gotta have your fairing like this to fit our payloads. And because that's the case, then all of the operators have the same size of the fairing. So Atlas V, Vulcan, Falcon 9. Now, it is true, though, that in the case, for example, of Delta IV Heavy, they had an extended fairing version that was a lot longer. And that was, for example, for, the keyhole satellites that were sort of like Hubble space telescopes pointed the other way around, right? Those were a lot longer, so they needed the longer fairing. Atlas V has never flown with a 5-meter diameter long version fairing, though, so it's never been able to actually beat Falcon 9 in that sense. So in the case of Atlas V, it carries 27 because it carries another sort of row of satellites, and that means it is a larger dispenser. And even though I said yesterday, look, the amount of payload that they're carrying, it's 13,700 kilograms approximately, with these 24 Kuiper satellites. That doesn't count that you're also carrying into orbit the payload adapter where those satellites are attached to. And that is probably another ton or so in mass. So technically you're carrying almost 15,000 kilograms to low Earth orbit. It's just that of that, 1 ton or so is just useless mass. It's just a dispenser. So the whole reason I'm mostly sure is because if you add the next row of satellites, the dispenser for that, even if you carry 1 extra satellite, you're also adding probably like 300-400, maybe half a ton more of mass to the top of the rocket, and that probably starts getting into the margins.
Yeah, that makes sense. I always wonder whenever we're seeing something launch, like, is it mass constrained? Is it constrained based on the weight, or is it volume constrained based on the available space in the fairing? All right, well, we are getting very close Clock is continuing to tick down, and right on schedule, there is the 20-minute vent from Falcon 9. Max, what are we looking at here, and why is it a good thing?
So this vent is a sign that everything is proceeding and trending in the right direction. So at the moment, SpaceX is flowing a bit of liquid oxygen through the plumbing and fuel lines inside of the transporter erector to chill them down in preparation for stage 2 liquid oxygen loading. And so at this point, this will continue for about 3 minutes. And then this will cease at about T minus 16 and a half minutes. And at that point, that is a visual indicator that we are then proceeding with stage 2 liquid oxygen loading. So this will continue, and we can obviously see the vent continuing off to the left-hand side, which is actually a good indicator that there is a little bit of a breeze over at Slick 40, and that cloud is awfully prominent, which also means it is very, very humid here on the Space Coast of Florida. And since we are out here, I can very much confirm that. But things are trending in the right direction, and hopefully this will continue until T minus 16 and a half minutes. But T0 is getting close, folks.
Indeed, it is getting close. Max, you said phase instead of stage at one point. I do think you have been dealing with some weather over the last couple days, the phase 2 lightning warnings and everything. You poor guy.
Yeah, like phase 1 and phase 2 lightning watches and warnings are very much on my mind, and that is why phase, I think, was the first word to come to mind and come out of my mouth. But at the moment, we are currently clear. At least the last time we checked, the weather board for KSC, Patrick, and the Cape Canaveral Space Force stations are green, which is good, because SpaceX would not be able to proceed into prop load operations if we were in a phase 2 lightning warning. And at the moment, the skies remain
Are we back?
Are we back,
Let's
folks?
see.
Talking while muted. Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. I think we have Max back. We should be back. I was talking while muted, so that was a brilliant move on my part, in addition to everything else. I see 5x5s in chat. Thank you, chat. 17 minutes to go. Falcon 9 continuing to get loaded with fuel. 24 Kuiper satellites waiting to launch into space. And a queue full of really good questions from y'all. Let's jump into these. Just a fan's asking, any plans on doing coverage at Wallops in the future? We've done a little bit of Wallops coverage in the past. Max, you've even been to Wallops, right?
Yes, both Dee and I were present for the last 200 series and Antares launch, which was actually just over 2 years ago. And with the next generation Antares launch vehicle coming online, or actually it's not Antares anymore. What is it? I can't remember the name. Oh no.
Well, first
Shoot.
it'll be Antares 330, and then it's going to be Eclipse.
Eclipse. That's what it was. Eclipse. Thank you. So we have Eclipse coming, MLV, and then also we have Rocket Lab's Neutron launch vehicle, which is going to be launching primarily, I shouldn't say primarily. It is only going to be launching from Wallops, at least at this point in time.
Oh my God, Max.
They just what?
How excited are you for Neutron?
I mean,
Did you see that? Did you see that video they posted the other day of the plume? Oh my God. Oh
I was just
my
going
God.
to bring it up. Yeah, Archimedes is proving to be a remarkably beautiful engine in terms of its plume, and it seems like they have already gotten it reliable enough to perform a successful mission duty cycle, or MDR, which is a full
I'm gonna
duration
say
burn
it.
simulation. What?
I'm gonna say it. Potentially more beautiful than Raptor.
I would tend to agree with that.
That
See,
film cooling, the film cooling, the particular shade of blue. I mean, we'll have to see what it looks like once integrated onto a vehicle and launching, and different dynamics, different colors, I'm sure. But Oh my God. I mean, it could have even just been down to color correction, but yeah, this is the footage we're talking about here. This is Rocket Lab. This is not SpaceX, but that plume is truly beautiful. And yeah, Max, like you said, that they're going to be launching Neutron out of Wallops.
Indeed, hopefully soon. They said they want to launch by the end of this year. I think more realistically, probably Q1 or Q2 next year at the earliest. But regardless, whenever it arrives, it is going to be a very special treat. But just don't launch
Yes.
at nighttime for the first launch, please,
Right.
please.
Yeah, for real. Suffice to say, we'll be pulling out all the stops when that does happen. No stops will be had. And it's just awesome to see more companies developing larger engines. And it's basically it's SpaceX, ULA, Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, Firefly. Like that's it. That's it. And they're all cranking away in their own way, and it's delightful to see. So yes, stay tuned. We will absolutely cover everything we can out of Wallops when we can and when there's cool stuff happening there.
I'm also excited for Eclipse because at one point they mentioned that
Yeah.
they may catch the booster. Like, they have plans for usability for Eclipse, and sort of their longer term plan for that might be catching the booster, just like they do with like what SpaceX does with Starship. So that should be really awesome to see.
Nice. Want to thank a couple more people. Bideford again. Thank you so much, Bideford. Now and always. Say, what is the fastest turnaround time for pads ready for its next launch on the best coast, East Coast? That's in quotes. I had to read it. Bideford says, sorry, Jack, hugs. Alex, this is an Alex question if I ever heard one.
Well, I'm gonna assume that SpaceX has already broken all of the previous records for a single pad, and just say that it's probably this one, that it is Slick 40. Right now, if I'm not mistaken, the shortest turnaround time is 2 days, 8 hours, 31 minutes, and 10 seconds between the Starlink 1016 and Starlink 1034 missions from Slick 40. That's turnaround time from the same pad, of course. But I don't know if maybe they meant, like, I don't know, time between launches at the Cape or something like that. Then it's like some Gemini mission back in the 60s.
Got it.
Although I think
Uh,
they broke that, actually. I'm gonna check now.
Really?
Yeah, I think they broke that last year, I think it is. I'm gonna check it out. You keep going.
I will keep going. 33 Raptors Mimi. Hi again. Upgrading to Capcom membership, which is the awesomest level of not awesomest. It's an awesome level of membership on the membership program because you get access to Discord at Capcom level and above. So Mimi, pop into the Discord and say, hey. There's a bunch of cool channels there. There's a food chat if you want to see what I'm cooking for dinner every now and then. If you don't care about that and you care about rockets, I mean, I guess that's probably what you care about. There's a whole bunch of discussion channels on there about rockets, different companies, different launch sites, all the good stuff. So pop into the Discord and say, hey. You also get the pre-show and post-show to the Flame Trench every Friday. Connor G, thank you for the support. They say, any idea why booster 1076 hasn't flown since February? The launch, landing, and recovery all look normal. Other boosters have flown multiple times since this last flew. Alex?
They may be just keeping it aside for a future mission. We don't know. I'm as puzzled as you are, Connor, as to what is going on with that booster. I really have no idea. Our only sort of speculation with this is that, again, they might be holding it for some future mission. Maybe it's going to be expanded on that future mission. I have no idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Turtle Sanctuary, thank you for the super chat. They say, correct me if you're wrong, if I'm wrong, but if you're reckless, doesn't that mean you're safer because you haven't wrecked? Yes.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like, is a hot dog a sandwich? Oh, goodness. All right. Just over 10 minutes to go. Thank you again to everyone for supporting what we do. Doesn't have to be a monetary thing. You can just tell your friends about us. That really matters, honestly, whether or not you do super chats or anything like that. hit the like button. That also matters. It lets the algorithm know what is good and what people like. But you know what's also good and what people like, and is a thing you can do to support us and get something in return. You can head on over to shop.nasaspaceflight.com and grab yourself one of our new trucker hats. That's right, trucker hats. These are like genuine, actual trucker hats with the snapback. They're not fitted. These are quality, actual, factual trucker hats. We saw people asking for them. We put them in the shop. Now, I am a hat guy, being hair challenged, but differently haired.
Hair
but
challenge, really?
so I do wear hats, but I don't personally tend to wear trucker hats. But Max, I know you do because I've seen the tan lines on your head from the snapback on trucker.
You really went there, didn't you?
I
You
did.
you really had to go there.
I
But
did.
yes, Jack, like you, I am follically impaired. So yeah, I do wear hats quite often. These trucker hats especially, and they are a real treat. And these brand new designs are a real treat. I think I have a green NSF logo one coming in pretty soon, and then I will be wearing that around as much as I can because I don't like exposing my head to the sun really that much because that stupid tan line that I get sometimes. But I wear it
You
the
look like
right way around now.
when you get that. I don't think I've ever said this to you, but I'm saying it to you now on air. When you get that tan line, you look like Appa from Avatar. Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
We also
it's
have
basically a tribal tattoo.
we also have in the shop prints. We talked about the prints a little bit earlier on the stream. We have metal prints and paper prints, and a portion of the sale goes to the photographer who shot the image. If you see that first one right there of Starhopper, Caesar, who is one of our field team out here in Starbase, that's his very first print in the shop. And gosh, is it beautiful. So if you want to support what we do, get something cool in return. And in the case of the prints, support the photographer who made the image, helping with gear purchases, gear rentals, the gas, food, sanity, all the things. The print shop is another great way to support us. All kinds of different ways to support us. Again, doesn't have to be monetary. We appreciate y'all just the same for coming out and watching. Here's one from Max. Max, I love the collages that you do.
Yeah, it's something that I just recently picked up on because you can cram a lot more into a singular image, and this one was received well enough that we had people asking for prints of it. So here we are.
Nice. Heck yeah. Well, there you go. Ways you can support what we do. We're not a giant company. We're not a, massive media conglomerate owned by a parent. Like, we're just a bunch of people who really give a crap about rockets. So we really appreciate the support because it means we can continue to bring you our independent and extremely dedicated coverage of every single rocket we can point a camera at. 7 minutes to go. I'm excited. Max, are you excited?
I am very much excited, and hopefully we can get to T0 and get Falcon 9 off the ground on its fourth try this morning.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I will let you go do camera things. Chat, wish Max and D good luck. And thank you guys. We'll see you on the other side.
Indeedy, we'll see you on the other side.
All right, Alex, now that Max is gone, we can talk about the second stage a little bit. Are we expecting stubby nozzle, the worst nozzle, demonstrably?
No, I don't think we're gonna see a stubby nozzle. It's gonna be the regular, proper ENVA extension there on that second stage.
Good deal. Good deal. Goyle is asking, does Kuiper have any similar tech as Starlink direct to cell? Do we know?
As far as we know, it only connects with K-band and Q-band. It doesn't have any LTE connection. Like even Starlink DTC, it's a different satellite than the regular V2 mini satellites. The V2 mini satellites connect to your regular terminal on the ground, the squarish, or if you have the old, you remember the old circular one?
Dishy? Yeah, Dishy.
Yeah, the Dishy. Exactly, with a cat. And so if you have that, you're only talking to the V2 mini satellites. You're not talking to the direct to cell because those have just LTE connectivity. So for those you just need a phone to get that, and obviously the correct carrier for that service. But yeah,
Right.
Kuiper is just like the Starlink V2 mini, just has the K and Q band connectivity.
So at some point there could be like a Kuiper variant where it's like Kuiper DTC, and it's a similar sort
Maybe.
of strategy, but we haven't seen anything like that yet, and there's nothing like that on today's launch.
You never know when Amazon might do that in the future, though. So,
Yeah. Let's see. More questions. Clock continuing to tick down. 5 minutes to go. Alex, here's one for you, because I know you comb through such documentation. Gabriel GG's asking a Starship question. They're asking if we think ships coming to Earth after they've launched from Florida will land on a drone ship based on recent FAA publications.
no, you know the language in those documentations, not just for 39A, but also for Slick 37 and also for Starbase, they often talk about drone ship landings and things like that, because that may happen in the future. They just don't have the hardware right now. They have no place to land any ships or any boosters on floating platforms or anything like that. But they may have that in the future, and so whenever they have that in the future, they don't need to do a lot of this stuff when that happens. And similarly, like we deal with this in the latest video that we published about it, where we also talk about, they also include a Starship version that is not flying now. It may fly 3-4 years down the line, but that's the whole reason why they do that stuff. Same thing they've done now that we're looking at Slick 40. They were including things like a landing zone at Slick 40. Whenever it's built, it should be a bit across that rocket fairing to the left. If I'm not mistaken, it's where it's gonna go. So that sort of things are right now underway. That paperwork.
Good deal. 3 minutes and change. Very exciting. A little bit of wind looks like out there today. You can see how much the shrubbery is moving. Holy cow.
Still, it's a lot better weather than yesterday. Yesterday it was raining at this time. Like it was pouring really hard on that rocket.
Right. Well, on the first, was it the first attempt where the percent of violation probability or whatever was like not a lot, but the weather was completely garbo?
But in that case, it was the vehicle, apparently, or at least SpaceX said that they needed further vehicle checkouts. So
Huh.
maybe
And
the
we're
weather
green
that was
for
great.
weather right now, right?
As far as I know, they said that it was in their favor. It was still a watch item. Like it could change at some point, right? It's Florida after all. But it was green. So let's hope it keeps being that way.
Indeed. Stage 1 LOX load complete.
Yep, next should be stage 2 liquid oxygen load, and then we'll see the Stromback vent coming back as they clear out the lines and things like that. We'll enter startup at 1 minute with Falcon 9 taking over control of the count.
There is the 2-minute vent there.
There we
Strombeck
go.
clearing out its lines. Excellent. Things continuing to tick off appropriately. 1 minute and 40 to go. I'm like, I don't know why I'm a little bit nervous for this one. Falcon Heavy Center Core flying as a standalone Falcon 9 for the very first time. SpaceX never fails to throw in a interesting new quirk.
Just want to make everyone aware
every
that
now
we
and
have a
then.
no-go condition on recovery weather. We will be standing down at T-minus 30 seconds. At 30 seconds, we will be calling hold. So stand by for
Oh my
that hold
goodness.
call, launch control.
Okay, so they are no-go. That's a
Now for
scrub.
recovery.
No-go for recovery weather. For recovery weather. I mean, we just said it's a Falcon Heavy Center Core flying for the first time as a Falcon 9. It's not like a 15 or 20 something flight booster that they could just be like, yeah, whatever, we don't need to worry about recovery. Like this Center Core has a lot a lot of work to do besides this Kuiper mission. Oh man. Poor
This
Max
mission
and
is
D.
cursed.
Yeah, poor Max and D. I
Yeah,
know
there we
that they
go.
really want to see this thing launch today.
They just gave the hold.
All right, yep. As they said, they entered into a hold at 30 seconds. Dang. Recovery weather, that's a rare one. What a shame. Oh, and right before we got into launch mode there, I did see 5 red team memberships come through from Rick St. Hilaire. Thank you so much, Rick. Really means a lot. Oh, goodness. Well, what is it? What's the cliche? Better to be on the ground wishing you were in space than
I
to
think
be
the
in
cliche
space.
here is that when the launch weather is good, it's the recovery weather that's bad. Oh,
Dang.
well,
I feel deeply for our field team right now. Early mornings, late nights, early mornings, late nights, back to back, scrub, scrub, scrub. Poor Cape team. Thank you so much, Max and D, for hustling and setting up cameras and dealing with everything they have to deal with. Chat, can we get some love for Max and D? This is what, attempt 3 now?
Technically, attempt 4, even though they never really got into the countdown on Friday morning. But yeah, it's scrub a dub dub, baby. But you know what? Honestly, that's part of the game. And you remember how we were talking about missions earlier in the show that scrubbed the longest? This is one of the ones in recent memory that has scrubbed this many days in a row. And weather for the next week or so is questionable. So really makes you wonder what's going to happen with it in the next week or so, because there are other flights to get off the ground, certainly, with like Vulcan on Tuesday evening, hopefully, and then other commercial satellites from 39A obviously coming up as well, and also the X-37B mission, hopefully before the end of the month. And then now SpaceX also has a Starlink mission scheduled just after this one, as I say this one, after Kuiper as well. But this is all part of the game, folks.
Yep, all part of the game. In fact, also part of the game is the scrub merch that we put up. One of Rocket Scrubs. The secret store is now active. The link is being spammed in chat. The shirt says, "I watched the whole stream and all I got was the Falcon 9 scrub."
might as well make it just a permanent thing on the shop
I
based on recent
mean,
days.
at this rate, you joke, but no, it is. This is a shirt that you can only get when a Rocket Scrubs. It'll only be in the store for 24 hours, and yeah, it's a little secret thing for all of you who were hoping for a launch today, and instead, all you're gonna get is this T-shirt if you buy it. Keith in chat says, "I'm wearing one now." Keith, you jinxed it, bruh.
Get another one.
Yeah, buy No, for real though, it's a little bit of a fun thing we do, and it does genuinely really help uh, pay for everything that we do here. Not just the 24/7 live streams, not just gear, not just people's time, not just everyone in the back channel, but just all of the infrastructure and all of the upgrades that are necessary to that infrastructure. I wish D was on comms because I would tease something, but I'm not going to leak anything. But
D did say the
uh,
word.
I can
well,
hop in
we
here
don't, we don't
briefly.
gotta we don't gotta throw D under the bus. D, there's a lot of upgrades coming down the pipe, right? We can be vague about it, but yeah, there's things happening, right?
There are things happening.
Yeah, and if you're a member, you might want to stay tuned in the near future for a member stream, right?
Absolutely. Membies should stay tuned for a very fun stream with some
Chaotic,
unexpected
some might
people.
say.
Yes, certainly chaotic.
Okay, cool. Well, that is just something I wanted to throw in there at the end. But yeah, check out the scrub merch if you like. Every little bit helps. And again, just have to underscore, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing. We appreciate you all just hitting the like button, telling your friends about us, watching the streams. Means the world because we love this stuff. So, what's the deal? Are they going to try again tomorrow? Do we know when the backup window is? They have a backup window tomorrow, right?
I believe
Yeah, it
so.
should be another one.
Max, you said the weather is kind of marginal for the next week, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, at least according to Apple Weather, take that with a grain of salt. But
Fair.
it is generally accurate for, I guess, the average part of the day, and it certainly actually has been for the past about 5 days or so. It has been a remarkably just wet and soggy past like week or couple of weeks now. But the weather tomorrow actually looks better with only a forecasted 25% probability of violation. But the weather on Friday, I believe, was also around 25 or 30%. And I know on Thursday, it was also, I think, only 20%, albeit that was not a weather issue as far as we know. So yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I just want to see Falcon 9 get off the ground because this is a very it's a lengthy process. This one has become lots of early mornings.
Yeah, I mean, think of it like you're establishing a new sleep schedule wherein you are a normal human that wakes up early. Right? I'm trying to be optimistic, Max. It's not natural for me, but I'm trying.
You can't be a normal person to work here, Jack, to be fair.
Oof, that hurts.
It's true. We go to bed too late also, like
Their sleep schedules are non-existent here.
I feel simultaneously seen and attacked.
So
Hey, somebody got the
going
scrub
back on
shirt.
track. Going back on track. I wanted to point this out because I was watching their coverage and all that, and it was showing this. Look at that weather. That's a Shortfall of Gravitas that's out there at the landing site. Doesn't look great, to put it mildly. That's 7 minutes before launch.
I wonder
it's not
what
great.
the buoy data was telling or was suggesting in terms of swell height, but also the winds, because obviously we've seen we've seen Falcon 9 boosters land, especially in the Pacific, land in, I guess, worse visibility conditions with the marine layer and low clouds out there. But it might be winds, but there could also, as I think actually the radar has been showing, there is a decent amount of just severe weather out there. So it could be wind, it could be lightning, it could be a whole bunch of other factors. So either way, not great. Not great, Bob.
Dang. Bill, thanks for grabbing the scrub shirt. They say I love scrubs. Why? Yeah, there's the buoy data. Looks like neat.
The winds look okay, but those clouds are lightning clouds. There was lightning in the area, so that might be they were really dark clouds. As I always
Yeah.
say, I call them angry air. It's the air being angry.
I've known you a long time, Alex. I've never heard you say that.
I've said that so many times, and you know it.
You've
I've
said the air.
angry air.
You said the air is angy.
Angry. Okay, well, look, it's the same. Okay.
All right, fair. That's fair. You know what also is fair? If we wrap things up here and let the field team start packing up. Max, thank you so much for being on comms and being out there back-to-back early mornings.
It honestly, Jack, even though scrubs are not ideal, it really is a pleasure as always to come out here and bring everyone the best views that we possibly can of what we can see. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming to hang out, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow morning.
Well, we lost you right at the end, but it sounded like you said we'll hopefully see you tomorrow morning, which hopefully we indeed will. Thank you so much, Max. You can see Max's info there on the top right of the screen. Give him a follow, get a print. You know the drill. We as photographers appreciate that stuff so much. Also out in the field, we had the one and only D Wise operating some of the live cameras today. Thank you to D for that. I don't know if they're going to be on comms or not, but if they are, they have 5, 4, 3,
it was a pleasure.
2. Consummate professional. Also on stream, we had Alex Alcantara Romero. Alex, thank you so much. Did you just mute? He just muted. He just no-selled me on the outro. Did you mean to do that?
Sorry. Yeah, no, here. I'm here. Hi. Thank you for having me, as always.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Okay,
Also,
I can out
operating-
my brother here. It was my brother messing with me. Okay, there we go. There you go. He literally
Okay.
came into my room as I was trying to outro. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Okay, that was pretty good though. Good job, Alex's brother. Also operating the stream was Jay Keegan. Thank you so much, Jay. Jay needs a picture in his info card. I will stand by that. And yeah, that's it. We'll hopefully be back tomorrow for another attempt. I'm Jack Byer for NSF. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, Atlantis.
Water towers fly! Yes! Payload down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. It's orange!
R45. Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?